let's continue our exploration of these tools here, including the linear gradient, circular gradient, and a few more. And let's move right into the last group here with lens flares and nova. Now I have an image here which is taken out of an animation project, and the animation project essentially is one where I have a lot of terrain fly-throughs. This one here, the most recent one, and I'm trying to see if I can add a little bit of a flare on the sun. The sun is right up there, a tiny little speck, circular speck, and I need to make it a little bit glare and you know, some lens flares and reflections and some nice strobe lights there. So we can do this on single images. If you want to look at just a static image, you might even do a double star scenario, put two lights there. Or you could have that perhaps to track that position and do the post effect on the animation altogether. So let's see how to do that. Essentially, when you use this tool here, simple way would be the nova, and there's a couple of options, but actually the newest version here, when you click on nova, it will also show these options right here. So you can say how many star effects you want, maybe just 4. And also how big the bloom is. Let's make it a small bloom so we see the stars a little bit better. And then what you do is you click and drag from that center point, right? Whatever that highlight point is that you want to use. So let's say you go here, click and drag, and you indicate which way one of the stars will go. So let's say about this way. Now nothing shows because my color is black. It's using the primary color. So I really need to do that with a primary color other than black. It's going to be an additive effect. And if you add black, nothing is changing. So let's make it, for instance, kind of a reddish. And I'm also able to do that with the right color, the right click or alternate color, secondary color. So I'm going to give it a little bit of a bluish tint on that. And we'll try both. Okay, so left button, click and drag from here. And now here you see that bloom and you see the stars showing. Kind of a 4-star. Not what I'd like. So let me undo that and I'll try something better, perhaps 8 stars. Alright, there you go. And then I can do with the right button another one, like so, at a different angle, and you can see how the stars rotate in a different way. And perhaps do one like that, and then one more. And if I do that many times, maybe I want to also just have a larger bloom so that the spot in the center here is a little bit bigger. As you can see that right now here. Right. So now we have a nice little sun, a very bright sun added there to that. Something like that. So that's one way to do that, right? It's just one type of post effect on a single image. I'm going to store that one, and you can see the comparison. Here's the original, and here's the post worked one. Now I'm going to go back to the original, and I'm going to use a different tool, which is the the lens flare. With the lens flare, you have a few more options, and quite many actually. And what you see is that there are some presets that are beautifully created here, but you can also go and edit, and there's lots of elements, a dozen of elements that define these lens reflections and the stars. And so you can pick any of those, and let's say for instance I want this one here with the big lenticular halo there, and then I just click and drag from there. And so as you do that, and the farther away you go, the bigger those stars become, right? The rings, the reflections, everything. Let me undo that and try a different one, like this one here. Click and drag. There you go. It's a little bit off. Let me undo that, and I should be able to do that better. My mouse is not very accurate this morning. Alright, so that's another way to do it. And I'm going to store this one. Store image. There you go. So we now have a couple of different examples. We have this one without the post work. You see the sun right here. See this one here that was done with the first tool, and that's the nova options. And then there is this one here that was done with the more advanced flare options, also known as lens flares. Alright, so those are the ones for static images. Now the same technique with the lens flares we can also apply over an image sequence. We'll cover that in a different tutorial, but essentially what it amounts to is to let's say if we go back to the original and we identify an area of interest that represents where the bright spot is, the sun, what you'd like to do is track it, and that's exactly one thing that we'll be able to do. When we work in an animation, you can go and track that particular spot and apply changes to the position of that hotspot. So then the lenticular reflections and all these special effects will be following that spot and move with it. Let's do just one more, just to experiment a little bit more with that. Let's grab this one here, or this one. I like them all. It's yeah. Let's grab maybe one bluish. This one here, nice bright blue star. So let's go like this here. Ah, beautiful. Look at that. And this is a very bright day here. Bright sun. There you go. And let's go store this. And so we now have a couple of different variants, right? You have this one, kind of a more of a warm light, a reddish orange light, and then this one is more of a bluish light. This one was done without the lens flare, so you don't see lens reflections there. That's just the nova effect. And you can combine them all in many different ways. I mean, you could start with this and then add yet another one on top, like this one. All right, if you like that for the stream coming out. Now that's really blurring it out. You can't see much there anymore. Maybe this is on the final day when the star is born, right, and the rest around it dies. It's a very bright event here. So let's go and store this one. And that's that. Alright, so that's it. Here's the original. And you know what, sometimes you'd like to also expand the dynamic range to make sure, or increase the contrast, and then start your post work. I mean, that's part of the post work too, right? You got all sorts of filters, soft contrast improvement. That might be it. Maybe something like adjusting the value, the contrast. I mean, there's a variety of other things you might want to do before you apply your lens flares, and then go and make it so. Let's go with this one here. Alright, and that covers this one, the lens flares.